everyone. Welcome to Teaching Side Hustlers. This is a new show that's going to hopefully build a community of us who are doing side hustles or side businesses while we teach. Sometimes it's instead of teaching, sometimes it's as we retire from teaching. But whatever it is, welcome, and I hope I can help you make the side hustle of your dreams easier and more profitable. Okay. In case you're wondering a little bit about me, my name is Neela Bell. I've worked with lots of different folks over the years. I've been a coach, consultant. I've had a graphic design agency. I have thousands of products on Amazon.com, a couple thousand, and on and on. So I've been a side hustler for a lot of years, and it's something that I've really depended on. Oops. Getting a live siren work beside me. It's something I've depended on myself as a side income as a single mom, and so it's really made the difference. You know, especially when I started teaching, it made all the difference in the world to have a side income. So one of the questions everybody has is, how do you actually make some money at this, and what can I expect as far as money goes? So I'm gonna walk you through how money works as a side hustle. It's not like a teaching job, right, where you know that you do this contract to get this money. There's a lot of variables when it comes to the business world, and I want to walk you through some of them. So the first thing is understanding the concept that it's a numbers game, right? Next, it's also a value ladder game. I'm going to explain both of these to you in just a sec. And last, it's about scaling, which is growing beyond the hourly. So we'll talk about that. And finally, I want to talk about a book. I'm going to weave in some books as I do these shows with you that I think will help you. They really helped me. So the one I'm going to talk about in this episode is the E-Myth. Okay. Number one, the numbers game. Basically, online businesses, any business, is a numbers game at its heart. So in order to understand this, you have to understand what a funnel is. A funnel is a way of finding people and guiding them towards a purchase. Every single business works like this, and this is called a funnel, okay? Literally looks like a funnel. Boop. Whole bunch of people at the top getting their interest, right? We call that the hook. A funny picture, a gorgeous picture of a Jeep, whatever it is, crazy thing, something odd and unexpected grabs your attention, or something you're really worried about, something like that. So we grab your attention with something that I think will appeal to my perfect people. So I grab your attention, and then I talk to you and build a relationship with you, get you to trust me, get you to think, oh, I'd really like to work with her. And then as I build a relationship with you and a community with you, I start to offer you ways to solve your problems. And that's where I start going, I'll solve this problem for you in exchange for this money. And usually the smaller the problem I'm solving, like I'll save you a few minutes with a template, that's not a whole lot of money. Easy, but easier for you to say yes to. A little trade-off there, right? So I'll give you $15 for this template. Right? That's an easier thing. How about I'll give you $1,000 for this coaching program, right? One of these. So we guide people along so that they will do one of these with their credit cards, right? I'll solve your problem. You give me some money. And that problem can be teaching related. That problem can have nothing to do. We have side hustles where it's like, I will give you this thing that you really want because it's beautiful art. I'll give you a solution to your pet's allergy problems. Boop. And on and on. So you get it. So that's a funnel. And we can expect, because this is not a new invention, there's been 100 years of research on this, of how sales funnels work. There's some pretty predictable results when you put a certain amount of people in the top of the funnel and start talking to them. You will lose people along the way because they're not your people. They weren't that interested. They got the thing at the top, but the more you talk to them, the more they realize, like, it's almost like you're looking for your spouse, right? It's like you want to get married, right? So it's like you start, not in the real world, hopefully, you start talking to 1,000 people and then you realize that 1,000 people, the only people who are actually, it's like you're looking online, you see 1,000 people. That gets down to maybe there's really only, say, 100 people who are really right for you. So you start talking to them, you narrow it down. And then by the time you kind of get to know each other, then you can start going, getting more serious, getting more of a commitment, right? It's a good analogy, actually. Okay. So don't be frightened. I'm going to start talking about the numbers here right away. Don't be frightened because 1,000 people started off up top. And by the time we got down here, there wasn't that many people. And that's normal. That's business, right? Not everybody's the perfect fit. Not everybody's ready today. Maybe they'll be ready in a month. Maybe they are short on money, busy with their mom's health. 100 reasons why they may not be ready to say yes right now. Okay. So I'm going to give you some examples of exactly what I'm talking about. So at the top of the funnel right here, this is the Jeep Instagram page that I took a screenshot of. So you can see Jeep does a very good job of drawing you in, right? Dogs, winter, colors, the open road. Their branding is beautiful. They even have the funny little groundhog in the bottom there. The one with Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. God, that one made me laugh. So basically, they're hooking you, giving you something, oh, cool. And they're trying to get their perfect people who might want to buy a Jeep or who bought a Jeep and who want to keep being reinforced that, oh, I made the right decision. It's time for a new Jeep, right? So when I click on their link, here's what I get to. I get to the Jeep page. So I'm being drawn down. I go to Instagram, there's a link there. I click it and I go to the Jeep page and I see all their beautiful Jeeps that are there. I also see, by the way, a little square there that talks about financing because it instantly takes care of one of my objections. Might be, I don't have enough money right now to buy a Jeep. So they've taken care of that for me. Oh, you'll do, right away, right on the very first splash here, they've taken care of one of my problems so that I'm closer and closer to a yes. Okay, so as you can see, one of the things that we do here is guide people along a funnel. And one of the ways I get to do that, like I can't talk to you if all I do is go to the Jeep website and then take off again. You've lost me. How do you talk to me if I'm not on the Jeep website? Well, you have to get my email address so you can talk to me. Now, you might be able to talk to me online, and you will do that in social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, the big ones. So having a conversation with me, the best way to do that is through email. And so most places will find some way to get your email. And again, it's a trade. I'll give you this really great thing if you give me your email address. And people are so used to that right now that I think the offer has to be pretty good for you to do one of these with your email. And so I think that's part of the job these days, is coming up with something that's really compelling for people. Okay, so how this works is, and I've got a little diagram there. So traffic comes into, we call it a squeeze page, which is something that says, here's the thing and I'll give you give me your email and I'll give you this beautiful cheat sheet, tip sheet, book club. I have a starter kit. Peek behind the kimono here. You can download my starter kit. Okay, that's my version of getting your email address so I can talk to you. And by the way, it's not all like this terrible thing. It's a great thing, because then you can find out if working with me is something you would like to do, and I can help you and find out what your problems are and just get better. And I can get better that way too. Conversation benefits both people. Anyway, so as you can see, you run traffic, they get your free thing, and then you start talking to them in email. And typically it's like nurture. The idea is to nurture the relationship, to have a conversation. And then when you figure out what some of the problems are you can help with, you offer to solve those problems. And then that starts introducing the financial stuff, the payment part of it, right? So I'll solve this little problem for $50. I'll really help you for $1,000. You know what I mean? Like you'll get all my attention for X amount of time, but it's going to cost you, appropriate amount, whatever that is in your niche, right? And for some of you who are running a store, by the way, this is exactly the same thing. Lots of places say, get an email so you can find out about our latest deals. Or if you buy something once from them, they email you with coupons, spring sale, Black Friday. It's all the same idea. Talk to you, make an offer. That's how business works, right? Okay. I'm going to give you a consulting example. So this is the lovely Kathy Toogood. And I worked with Kathy and had such a great time. She runs a consulting place called Canopy Consulting. And Canopy with a K. Terrific. She helps emerging women leaders, supporting immigrant families, all kinds of great stuff. Anyway, so she has a book club, which she calls a book salon. And I love this for her because she's dealing with professionals. So automatically she's offering a get together with them that lets people know they're in the right place if they want to work with Kathy. And she gets a really kind of intimate conversation around professional things. It's such a lovely way for her to build a community. And not surprisingly, her business is very successful. So even with something like consulting, I'll go over here. The idea is she's active on Twitter. She might say, I've got a book club that I'm doing. Here's the latest book we're going to talk about. That gets people into the thing. They get to know her. They talk about the book. They see how intelligent she is. She see how much her vast experience she is. And for you consultants out there, you see where I'm going with this. They get to see your chops, right, as a consultant. And if you've got the right personality, all of it, right, all the stuff. And so basically, as you get drawn down that funnel, you can start to make offers, make yourself available, show off your expertise, and then contracts will come. That's kind of how this works with consulting, right? Because if all you're doing, by the way, with consulting is waiting for your friends to give you jobs, you're going to run out of friends, right? Or what do you do when it's Christmas? What do you do over summer holidays, right? So you need to develop a business that's just beyond, beyond just you and your friend network, right? So we want to build a whole business with this. We want to get an email address. We want to start giving people value in different ways. Okay. So let's get to the money part of this, which I know you've all been waiting for. So these are the numbers that you can expect. These are industry standard numbers. I have gone low on these. So I think you can do better than this. But how it works is this. So if I have 1,000 people who see my free thing that I'm offering you at the top of the funnel, right? If I have 1,000 people see that, about 30%, if I make a really good one, you can count on about 30% of the people saying, yes, I'll do one of these. I'll get your starter kit. Here's my email address. I can rely on about 30% of the people who see that doing that. Same with, if you were doing a tip sheet for job interviews in the government, right? That might be whatever would really help your audience, a really quick win for them. Here's the thing to get you started, make sure you're successful, whatever it is. So really good one, 30% you can count on. Okay. So that means, I'm just doing real simple math here. So 1,000 people, you can count on about 300 people to say yes, right? Let's see. So if 300 people say yes, they give you their email address, industry standard, and everybody's different. Like if you're selling kayaks, it might be a little different than if you're selling t-shirts or if you're selling consulting gigs versus whatever, but generally it's low like that. It's like in the single digits, right? It's about 2%, something like that. Of the people on your list will say sure to something paid. Now you can improve that by nurturing them along, right? Like you doing an event, like masterclass, book club, all the things where you're live with people, that number goes up because they've gotten to know you quite well. But if you're just relying on sending people emails, that might stay down there. So let's just use 2% for now. Okay. So 2%. So that means we started with 1,000. We got 300 emails. We can count on about 6 people to give us money for something. Give or take. I'm using very rough numbers here. So let's just check my math. 1,000 people viewed it, and at 30%, that gives me 300. 300 leads at 2% conversion gives me about 6 people. So if I charged, for example, $200 for a course with me, if I had 6 people, that's like $1,200 if I had 6 people, right? So as you can see here, I hope my little cam thing, I wonder if I can move it a little bit. As you can see here, the funnel as it goes down, if you just think of it as you put 1,000 people in, well, you get 6 out the bottom. It's not a very romantic way to look at it, but that's kind of the number game, right? 1,000 people at the top, 6 come out the bottom. So what if you play with that? What if I put, I hope you can see it around my little webcam. What if you put 5,000 people in the top? You run Facebook ads. You're really active on social media. You had something go viral, right? Whatever it is, probably the ads is how you would get there. Whatever it is, you put 5,000 people in there. Well, now you've got 30 purchases and you made $6,000. So do you see how this scales up when you start adding things? This would also scale, as you can see here, if you offer different things. Like I was just using the example of, for easy numbers, a $200 course. But as you can see, here's some range of what things typically cost. So we've got webinars. They can range from a real quick 1-hour webinar. You can usually charge between something in the low, like 20s, something like that. 27 to say 97, depending on who you are, your background, what you're offering. Okay, so somewhere in there. Programs, and I'm talking like, a 5-week program with multiple units. You're really digging deep into something to help people. The real low end for that's about $150, and they go typically right, $997 is not unusual, right, for that. Okay, if you're doing an event or a summit, like I would suggest, actually, this is a really great thing for consultants to do, is host a summit, right? And you charge people, say, $197. Again, not outrageous to go to a subject matter conference, right? Or event, summit, whatever. So let's say you charge $197. Templates, I don't know. You can charge maybe $15. I don't know. You bundle them together. Make a deal for 54, whatever. There's so many ways to do this. I'm just giving you some number ideas. A virtual assistant, when it comes to making money, to do hourly trade-off, right, is probably about, say, $30 now. And I'm talking about someone in North America. So again, I want you to think to yourself, okay, well, if 1,000 people go in the top, and 6 people are at the bottom, give or take, right, rough. So 6 times, and look at the prices there, right? So you say to yourself, well, should I do templates? I don't know. Maybe, right? Maybe. If I'm going to do a webinar masterclass, you look at what, $27, and then you times that, you start multiplying that by, oh, well, what if I got 5,000 people? What if I got 10,000 people? Typically you're doing things which are very niche. And what I mean by that is, or to be successful, you do things that are very niched down. Like you wouldn't aim something at people interested in fishing. You would do people who are interested in a certain kind of fishing in lakes in Alberta, right? Very narrow audience, so people know you are such an expert in that narrow thing, and then you can charge more because you are a unique expert. If you're just a leadership coach, they're a dime a dozen. And remember, another principle here is that if you compare apples to apples, people choose the cheapest one. So don't be an apple next to a bunch of other apples. Try to figure out what your side hustle could be that would make you very unique so that you can be priced accordingly, right? And then you do that funnel and you think to yourself, okay, charge a little more. Now what does the funnel do for me numbers wise? Okay, I've got 2 more things to talk about, and they're not quite as long as the one we just covered. So the idea of the value ladder is another way people make money online and in business. And this concept is the idea that you take people from their initial purchase and you figure out more, offer them a higher ticket item continually. And what I mean by that is this. Okay, so getting back to the thing I just talked about, let's say you offer a masterclass at $47. Well, you might get 100 people off your list. Let's say you have a really big list. You might get 100 people who want to come to your masterclass and pay that money. Well, of those 100 people who paid that, there's probably, 10, 20 of them who would sign up for a 5-week program with you for $300, right? And of those people, maybe there's 5 people in there who might want to coach with you for $2,000. See what I mean? That idea of like, that fraction of people, there's always a fraction of people who will say yes. So you always need to have offer bigger, 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 knowing not everyone will say yes, but you don't have to have everyone say yes. You just have to have a couple people say yes, and then you're making some money, right? Okay. So that's the idea of the value ladder, making sure that you're starting to build in more, more you for more money to people who are willing and needing that kind of extra support. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about is learning to scale as far as making money goes. So this is the concept around hourly pay. And so if you are stuck in you're doing the work and you do everything, because there's only 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, you can't work more than that, right? Unless you are in the time-space continuum, you only have, right, that amount of time. So you'll never make more than that. So you're instantly limited as to what you can make. And that is a perfect segue into the book I wanted to talk about, because this not solves the problem, but addresses the problem in this book. It's called The E-Myth. And I've noticed when I went on Amazon to find a link for you guys, they have the E-Myth for bookkeepers, the E-Myth for this profession, the E-Myth for that profession. So some of you who are thinking of a side hustle in some certain areas might want to check out if maybe there's a specific E-Myth for you. I doubt it with the kind of side hustles I'm envisioning you doing. But anyway, so what does the E-Myth itself is about understanding why businesses fail. And this is a very common thing that I see with side hustles, which is they don't make the money people think they're going to make right away. And people also do this thing where they do all the work. And in the beginning, because I know you have probably more time than money in the beginning, eventually that's going to change, where your time is so precious and so limited that actually you need to hire other people to do work for you. And one of the parables, moral of the stories from the E-Myth, they talk about a fellow who is an excellent pie maker. So he opens a store and he makes the pies because he loves making pies. But his store does not do well because he's in the kitchen making pies. And eventually, of course, he can't be back in the kitchen. He has to be in the front or in the back of the store, strategizing about how to keep the business successful, and long-term strategy and customer retention and pricing and all of the things that are the CEO level responsibility, not the pie making, not at the pie making level, right? We want you to be the leader. It's kind of a leadership thing is really what this is. So that's how also you're going to make money, is by not doing low-level work. Start off, fine. You want to build your own website, great. You want to make your own this, make your own that, take care of all your own social media, blah, blah, blah. That's fine in the beginning. Probably, maybe it's a good thing because you learn how to do it. But eventually, you will never be successful if you spend your time doing that. You have to spend your time doing the things that will really, the innovative work, right? The higher level work that's going to grow your business. So those are my 3, I think, explainers on how you make moolah in online businesses and in businesses in general. So if you would like to grab my starter kit, I think you'll really like it. I tried to make it completely irresistible, and I've got all kinds of stuff here for you. And if you click, depending on where you're watching this video, below the video, I think you'll see some kind of link. It's totally free. It's got a survey tool where you can take a survey to see which side hustle might be the best for you. I've got a guide, kind of PDF, where I walk you through over 80 different side hustles, giving you lots of ideas. And I've got lots of resources for you and links to things that for do-it-yourself, for hiring people to do it for you, etc., etc. So I'm really proud of it, and I hope you will. I hope you'll grab one. And I think that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and keep hustling.